I had another tooth extracted, and I took 1 week without reading, and then I came to finish what I started. Um, it was last week, and in that period, I read 4 standalones and one series that have 5 books. I talked about that on the previous video about April's to be read. So I started the King of Scenes series. It's a series with standalones, romance books. Just 3 of it is out, and another one will be released at the end of this month. I think it's April 30th. So the first book is King of Rock. Um, it's a enemies to lover type of romance book. We have the character Dante and Vivian. They don't know each other, but Vivian's dad blackmails Dante to marry her because she's from a rich family, but they are self-made, so they are new money, and he is from a old money family. Her father wants the respect from high society, so in order to get that, they have to be surrounded by people with a lot of influence. Old money people that have a lot of influence. Because of that, he blackmails Dante to marry Vivian, but Vivian doesn't know it. Dante thinks that Vivian knows it, and Vivian thinks that she knows that with rich people, marriage normally is not because of love. So she's like, okay, I know we don't love each other. It's sudden, so it's a business type of thing, but it's not. But Dante doesn't tell her like it's because of the blackmail, but he thinks that she is involved somehow. So the whole thing is about that. It's about one knowing one thing, the other not knowing something, and then uh, their romance develop. The whole writing thing. Um, I read Twisted series, the 4 books, and this new one. The writing is not something new. It's just like it's the author. You could like spy scenes. They had similarities. The way the character called something the same way that all of the others called that thing. So it had too many similarities. I think the whole 3 books they had too much thing in common, and that made it like boring somehow because it wasn't distinct. The next one is the King of Pride. We have Kai and Isabella. Kai is from a old money rich family. He's a billionaire. He's really smart, but he's an introvert. Isabella, she has a lot of secrets, but she's a outspoken, blunt girl. She's running from her past. It's not dark, but she has her secrets. They become friends, and then um, the whole thing develop with. But it takes a little time for them to become friends and then lovers. And the whole plot will happen mostly when they become lovers. It's a cozy and slow burn type of thing. And I like the plot. I didn't expect what happened in the end. Again, it's not, the writing is not something to be like, oh, it's so unique. It's not unique. It's the author's type of thing. But I like the whole, like in this series, these 2 characters, they are my favorite because of the way their story will develop. The King of Rock one, it has a little bit of toxicity in it. This one, the characters, especially Kai, He's every single thing, but not toxic. He's not toxic, not even 0.1111, no, 0.00001% toxic. Really, he's amazing. I think this is why I gave this book 3.5 out of 5 because of the characters, but the writing thing wasn't that for me. I don't think I said it. The King of Rock, I gave 2.5 out of 5 because of the writing and a lot of similarities when it comes to especially Twisted Love, because Twisted Love was also type of enemies to lover trope. The last one from the series is King of Greed. The character's name is Dominic and Alex. I say Alexandra, but I think it's in English with the English accent, it's like Alessandra type of thing. She's Brazilian, so it's Alexandra. I think it's Alessandra even in Brazil. Um, it's they're married, so it's a failing marriage and a second chance type of trope. Um, she's a socialite, and so she stay at home. She doesn't work and do anything, and he works a lot. He's a workaholic. He works too much. He works to the point that he forgets that they had a dinner planned. He forgets that they have to a trip to celebrate um, the day they met, their marriage, any type of anniversary or important event, important day. He forgets because of work. If something happened at the office, he forgets about every single thing. I think it's like he's the type that even if something is happening, he won't even remember to call you to be like, oh, I'm sorry, something happened really important. I have to stay. I'm so sorry, or I'll get home late. So the things like she will get to a point where it's like, I'm saturated, I don't want this. She will be like, okay, let's divorce. And then he'll do every single thing to get her back. I think this is kind of a spoiler, but if the marriage is failing, you know that to get to a point where it's like, I'm going. Um, I didn't like the plot because it felt at a point it felt so slow and then so rushed with certain things, and even the way they got back together, I didn't like it. So the author had good ideas, but the way she developed it, it wasn't it wasn't that for me. So the plot was like, I got to half of the book and I was reading it just but for reading it because I had to talk about it. But it wasn't my favorite. It's not it. And again, the writing is not unique. It's I don't want to say it's copy paste because it's not, but the style it wasn't that for me. So I gave it 2 out of 5. And then I read a dark romance, Credence. Um, First of all, this book it's for 18 up. Personally, I would say 20 up. Just for the idea of your mind being in a different place, more developed. If you like dark romance and those type of things, and if you know how to distinguish fiction for reality, this book for those that are really sensitive, don't read it because it's too triggering. So we have three male leads and one female lead. Well, they're not the male main leads, but it's about the girl. She's 17, a few months to turn 18, and it involves grooming. Um, so it's not a romantic thing, but at the end, the author adds a little bit of romance into it. But you can see the grooming and the how your mental state affects your choices. But I understand that some people will think like it's romanticized a little bit because of the end. I think the end could be more like her by herself. So the story is the girl, I think it's pronounced Tierman, uh, she her parents dies and her uncle ends up being responsible for her for those months until she turned 18, and then she goes to live with the uncle for a few days. The uncle is not they're not blood related. He's a step uncle. He's her dad's step brother. So she go live there in the middle of nowhere when it's snowing, when it's winter. No one gets in, no one gets out of that area. Uh, and these men have two kids, two sons. They are more than 20. The one is 20, the other one 23 or something. Um, so she ends up having an involvement with all of them, the uncle and the cousins. It's intriguing. On Goodreads, I like to see reviews of every single thing that I'm reading before I read it and after to see my opinions and what people think. And on TikTok, a lot of people were loving the book. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's amazing! It's amazing! It's amazing! The spice part is amazing!" And then on Go to Read, people were like, "I am traumatized." Not everyone, yes, but there's that difference between what you see in those two places. I give 3 out of 5 because I like the writing. And again, I know the books have bad parts, but I was looking at it with an idea of I was looking at the emotional part of it, of like when you're in the state of your mind, of your life, you tend to do things that are really bad or you shouldn't be doing it. And when it comes to the age, it's like if she wasn't that age, I would clean the floor for her. The thing that for me didn't do any good was the age. She was too young. But when I'm reading books, sometimes I tend to put myself in situation, not my whole self, like every single thing that's happening with the person is happening with me in my mind, but the age for me to feel more related. It's like she have the same age as me or similar age. I'm about to be 23, so I'm like, okay, she's 21, something like that. Um, so yeah, this is the thing. If you like dark romance, you can try it, but just know it's sensitive. It's really triggering. It's traumatizing for some others. It will awake things that you don't like, or again, try it if you like the type of thing, and then don't read it. But the last one, it's a series, Blood and Ash. It have 5 books, but I won't talk about all of it because it will. If I talk about the second book, it will give spoilers of how the first one will end. So the first book, I have a lot of things, I have a lot of notes. The first book is From Blood and Ash. The main lead, it's Pope. Her name is Pope. Um, so there is a thing of she's chosen for something that she doesn't know. No one literally knows. We just know that she was chosen by gods. So there's a lot of lies and omissions. She have powers. Oh, she have powers that they tell her like don't use it because it's bad, or just don't use it for people not to know. And she doesn't know herself. She doesn't know, like every single thing that she knows is a lie or is partially a lie. So it has a lot of plot. The issue is it's too slow in the beginning. When you if you're not patient, don't read the series, don't even start the first book, because it started being good after I don't remember the page, but I 30% of the book. in the beginning it has some little things, but it's too slow. Until 20% of the book, you think it's bullshit. So it's slow. The second book, it's slower. For me, the second book is full of um, fillers, and it's just good up to like 60, 70% of the book, like at the end. But it has things that, small things, small plots, small justification answers for the whole universe that the author create. So for that reason, it was like, no, but it's really good. Be patient. If I have to recommend this book to anyone, after I say the name, I will have to say be patient. Because especially in the second book, it'll make you want to punch the wall because you're like, why am I reading this and nothing is happening? But I know there's some people will like how slow things are. I think the second book focused a lot on the romance part than the other books, but the whole thing has romance in it. Um, it's five books. For me, the second book and the third book could be some merged, summarized, and make it one book, and the whole series would be three books instead of five. The last book the author called it like the book inside the series, but she should call it a novel because beside the first chapter, I was going to say episode, beside the first chapter and the last chapter, the whole book is um it's like a novel. It's a recap of every single thing that happened in book one in the male main character perspective. So we remember everything like the spice scenes, the fight scenes, the conversation, when they first met, how they met, how every single thing happened in his perspective. Because you, if you read it, you understand the reason, but it's just a recap. So if you're not patient, if you don't want to, just read the first one and the last one. It's done. Um, the last one, the name is A Soul of Ash and Blood. One more, should I say? I think just that. I like the whole thing. Besides it's not my favorite series because it has like the whole thing that I said, but I like what it was created. I like that you could like the whole thing was answered. For some parts, it can be a little bit not slow, confusing because we have vampires, we have the names are not vampires, but it's the thing of vampire have different types of vampires. We have gods, we have gods' kids. They call it deities. Or is that how you pronounce it? Um, so the whole thing is really cool. Um, I think it was inspired in the Akotar series. I'm not wrong. I like it. I gave it 4 out of 5 because of yeah the whole thing. But it was a little pissing because it was too long, and I felt like I wasted my time reading the last one. Oh, you smell good, but so I felt like I wasted, not wasted, but I felt like I spent a lot of my time I wasted my time reading the last one, but I didn't feel bad because it was kind of good to feel how, a spoiler, to feel how he fell in love with her, how he felt with every single thing that they exchanged. So, this is the whole thing about the series, the whole thing that I read. I said on the to be read list that I would read Dark Verse, but The thing is, I have an issue when it comes to reading books that are written in the third person POV. It takes a lot of me to concentrate and to highlight with the characters. I found out that the Caraval series is written in third person because of the thriller part of it. I was a little bit pissed. It took me like a few hours to deal with it, but I couldn't. I think the written, it wasn't appealing for a book written in the third person. You have to be really, really good at writing to make it appealing for the person to be like the first page. They have to catch your attention. Would be like, okay, I want to read it because what's the point of reading it if you not understand, if you cannot relate with what's happening? So I'm not gonna read it. So this is the whole thing. I have more to read, and I added more books because I took this out. So yeah. Subscribe to my channel. Um, I have a lot of videos uploaded talking about a lot of books, my pet peeves and stuff. Uh, and there are more to come. More books review, vlogging, reading. Um, there is from the bread that I made. I have another two series to do: hunting Adeline and hunting Adeline, and the serpent and dove series. So see you in next video.